Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to DC Fans United. So today I'm finally getting around to checking out Action Comics number 1000. Now, I've had this book for a couple of weeks, I guess, since it came out. I'm just now getting around to doing a review of it. I did, however, put up a video, if you haven't checked it out yet, that has 27 different covers for Action Comics 1000. So there were 9 main variant covers that you probably saw at the comic book shop, along with the main cover by Jim Lee. And then aside from that, all the others I show are exclusives. So it's possible there's more out there, but I put all the ones I could find on there. So Action Comics 1000 itself, I thought it was really good. There's one thing I didn't like about it, but we'll talk about that in a little while. So the cover I have here, as you can tell, I went with the 1940s variant. This is the Michael Cho cover. There were a lot of really great covers. I had a hard time choosing, but this is definitely one of the ones I liked the best. I also thought the 1980s variant was really good. So I wanted to get a review of this up sooner, but there's just been a lot going on. I did a live stream last night. The recording of that is up, so be sure and check that out if you haven't. I had a couple cool YouTubers on with me. So the story itself is actually a bunch of different stories. So if you don't know, Action Comics 1000, it was $8, 80 pages, no ads. So if you watched my last review, the Wonder Woman review, you know I'm not a fan of ads, especially a lot of them. So that alone was a pretty good selling point to me. And aside from that, they had a really great lineup of writers and artists. So the first story has Dan Jurgens on it, and the inks are by Norm Rapmond. So those two are both fantastic. Really, everyone who worked on this, for the most part, was really phenomenal. And there's a bunch of different short stories, really short, usually like 6 or 8 pages. But there's tons of great writers. You can see Scott Snyder, Tom King, Louise Simonson, like, are you kidding me? Paul Dini, we were talking about him on the live stream. I love Paul Dini. He wrote Countdown. I've been reviewing Countdown. You got Brad Meltzer, who of course did Identity Crisis. It's pretty controversial, but his story in here was really good. So anyways, it starts off with the Dan Jurgens story. The art, amazing. The story, amazing. The Dan Jurgens story is basically fan service, I'm going to admit. But as a Superman fan, that just made me happy. I mean, thank you, Superman. They're basically at a rally supporting Superman, is where most of this takes place. The first story is really like, okay, you bought Action Comics 1000, you love Superman, let's give you some of his classic, saving people, flying around, basically just being adored by the public. So it's a little cheesy, but I really liked the first story. I can see why they led with it. And yeah, it was just great. I think after I read this, I tweeted something along the lines of, is there anyone alive today who understands Superman as well as Dan Jurgens? And sorry about the glare. It's hard to do these things justice, but this comic is really beautiful. If you're a Superman fan, basically, you got to get it. So the second story is pretty cool. It's kind of like Superman gets sent through time by Vandal Savage. So you see him at all different points throughout time. So like he's saving a kid from a train back in the olden days, and he's in World War II. Pretty sure it's Sergeant Rock there. So there's all kinds of little Easter eggs and stuff throughout this book. There's things I didn't even catch, but there's all kinds of stuff. It's really phenomenal. Okay, so I paused the video there for a second to see if I could do something about the glare on the magazine, or, the comic here. It's real glossy, the print they use. Sometimes I wish they'd go back to the newsprint, but in any case, I hope the video quality is a little better now. So yeah, you see him fighting Mongol and whatnot. It's really cool. So he has to travel through time, and it's like each thing he goes through just makes him stronger and stronger. So when he finally gets back to Vandal Savage, he's just like, boom, KO, you know. So then at the end, he's united with his family. And that's another thing we talked about on the live stream is Superman. The way DC's handling him is really great. It's a nice, wholesome family, good times. He's got himself there as Lois, his son, Crypto, and then this story was by these folks here. Peter Tomasi did the writing, and Patrick Gleason was the artist. So then there are pinups throughout. This one I really didn't like. It's by JR. So he's one of those artists that can be good, but I didn't care for this picture. So this is a really great story. This is the classic one. So they actually used art by Kurt Swan and an original story by Cindy Joff. So I'm not sure how they did that. It must have been just unused art, something along those lines. So that story is actually really short. I ended up going into the next one. So that ends, and then there's a really great story. This one's by Tom King this one's by Jeff Johns and Richard Donner. So, of course, Richard Donner was the director of the classic Christopher Reeve's Superman. So this story was really cool. I liked it a lot. I'm not going to spoil it. A lot of these are really short stories. You really ought to just read it yourself if you can. Basically, they're all ranging from good to extremely good. And this is the Tom King story. I thought the art on this was really incredible, and I actually really liked how the story went too. So, what more can I say? It's all great. And this one especially was cool. I'm a big fan of Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. He did the art on this. So cool. So pretty. And it's by Paul Dini. So I really love that story too. So the elephant in the room is the story at the very end by Brian Michael Bendis. And that is the problem with this issue. I'm not going to go into it right now. I'm going to do a video just about this one. But while the rest of the comic is like a 10 out of 10, this story is a 1 out of 10. I'm going to do another video, a follow-up one to this one, just about this story and why it almost broke Action Comics 1000. It's less than 10% of the total pages, but it's really bad. And it makes me seriously worried about the fact that Brian Michael Bendis is, Bendis is coming. He's writing Man of Steel. He's writing Superman. Basically, he is deciding what happens with Superman. So I'm really concerned about the future, but we'll talk about that more in my next video. Overall, I thought Action Comics 1000 was really good. I definitely recommend getting it if you haven't. It totally just destroyed the sales records for April. I saw an article that it sold over 450,000 copies. So it's really terrific. Alright, that's all for now. Let me know down in the comments what you think. I hope the video wasn't too terrible with the glare on the issue and everything. I'm going to be doing more reviews on my computer, which I normally do, and are really well, edited. You've seen them. So let me know in the comments what you thought. Are these cell phone reviews okay? Should I stick to the other kind? I like to mix it up and have these too, because honestly, they take a fraction of the time, not even 10% as much time. So that's all for now. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, especially if you made it to the end. Let me know in the comments what you thought of Action Comics 1000. Let me know what you thought of Bendis' story at the end. Let me know which cover you liked the best, which story you liked the best. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and as always, thank you for being a part of DC Fans United.